شفيع المذنبين وحبيب رب العالمين محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the most merciful, all praise is due to Allah, and may His peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I begin by greeting you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And once again, thank you for being here. And once again, I remind you that it is good to be in the presence of good people, and it is better to be in the presence of good, beautiful people, and in my opinion, it is best to be in the presence of good, beautiful Eritrean people. And always happy to be in your midst. And inshallah, every time that we come together in times of joy, and we come together in the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So every culture employs a story to teach. That is just universal. Every culture, it doesn't matter where and when, people tell stories in order to teach lessons. And the Quran does the same thing. It uses stories to teach lessons. So, having said that, in most of these cultures, you don't even need to say, you don't need to ask people to be quiet to tell them a story. All you have to say is, I have a story, and everybody just becomes quiet. Young, old, everybody just wants to hear a story. And having said that, I like to tell you a story. So there are these two women who are constantly bickering and arguing as to who is more beautiful. So this woman says, I am more beautiful. Oh girl, shut up, have you seen yourself? Don't you see I have this and I have that? And it just became an everyday argument. I am better looking than you are. No, I'm more beautiful than you are. So one day they said, look, this is getting just way too childish. Let us just settle this once and for all. So what do? They lived up the hill and they decided that each woman was going to go downtown on Main Street. And the woman that gets most attention, most whistles, most compliments from the men is going to be the one that is more beautiful. So the first woman went on Main Street. And her name was Truth. So Truth went down on Main Street, and some people saw Truth, some people whistled, some people peeked out, and Truth is walking all the way down, and she notices that she's not getting the attention that she was hoping for. So Truth does the unthinkable, takes her clothes off. And now Truth became naked. Only few people whistled. And she's making the U-turn and she's going back up the hill and nobody's following her, nobody's saying anything, and she is just absolutely disappointed. And she made it there, and her friend opened the door, and Truth said to her friend, you really don't need to go. I given, you are more beautiful than I am. So the other woman said, no, that's not the deal. You took your turn and you walked downtown. I am going to take my turn and I am going to walk downtown. So if the first woman is Truth, who is the second one?
False.
MashaAllah, who said false? Wrong, huh?
Lie.
Who said love? MashaAllah, who said love?
I said lie.
Lie, MashaAllah, tabarakallah. That's two wrongs, MashaAllah. Now, last chance.
No.
Love, MashaAllah. That is 3 wrong, 4 wrong, MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Okay. So the second woman is story. Story. So story walks down on Main Street downtown. And the minute people saw story, everybody gravitated towards story. And people started following story. And people are whistling behind story. Story makes it all the way down Main Street downtown, and on the way back, people are still following story. And when Truth opens the door, she saw all the people following story, and then Truth makes the admission and she said, Story, you are more beautiful than I am. Story said, absolutely not. I am not more beautiful than you are. You are more beautiful than I am, but you need a little bit of me to bring out your beauty. You follow me, people? Now, Story is telling truth. You are more beautiful than I am, but you need a little bit of me to bring out your beauty. And that's what the Quran does. The Quran employs stories and parables in order to enhance truth. See, truth on its own is attractive to a good number of people. Truth presented in the form of a story is attractive to a lot of people. And the Quran does employ both styles, the style of parables and the style of story. In one of these parables, the Quran tells us, أَيَوَدُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن تَكُونَ لَهُ جَنَّةٌ مِّن نَخِيلٍ وَأَعْنَابٍ تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ لَهُ فِيهَا مِن كُلِّ الثَّمَرَاتِ وَأَصَابَهُ الْكِبَرُ وَلَهُ ذُرِّيَّةٌ ضُعَفَاءُ فَأَصَابَهَا إِعْصَارٌ فِيهِ نَارٌ فَاحْتَرَقَتْ. The Quran said, would any of you like or love to have a garden through which rivers flow, and it has all kinds of vegetations, and that person has attained old age and has a lot of young children? It's a beautiful picture, by the way. Here is somebody who is too old to do actual work by themselves, and they have dependents who are too young to do any kind of work on their own, but they have what we call passive income, easy income. You've got this garden where everything is beautiful with absolutely no work on your part. The river is already flowing in between and things are just looking beautiful. And then the Quran says, فَأَصَابَهَا إِعْصَارٌ. But then it was hit by a whirlwind, فِيهِ نَارٌ, with fire in it, فَاحْتَرَقَتْ, and it completely was burned down. So now the story says that that person is too old to work, and these kids are too young to do any work on their own, and all that passive income, all that garden that was supposed to be sustaining the family, that is all gone. Now imagine what will happen. And of course the Quran, and subhanAllah, this is, they say that telling a story is an art. Meaning that two people can tell the same story, but one person is a much better storyteller than the other. They're more theatrical. They know when to pause. They know how to play with their hands. They know the tone of their voice, and they know how to spice it up. And it's the same story, but somebody is just a better storyteller than another. Now, it's one thing to be a good storyteller and a smart storyteller and a storyteller that actually respects the listeners. So now what the Quran does, the Quran only presents this parable, but it doesn't tell you what the end is. It doesn't tell you what happens after that. So what is the point? We are going to leave it up to your imagination. Because if you just tell everything, that's not good storytelling. Sometimes you want the listener or the reader to ask, and then what happened? Oh, I'm not going to tell you. Oh, come on, please. No, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to leave it up to you. But why are you doing this? That's just not fair. No, because I want you to think. See, everything that is just presented immediately like that, that is not good storytelling. I deprive you of learning the lesson if after every story I tell you what is the lesson that you should have learned. So what the Quran does, the Quran gives you that part of the story, and then it tells you, fill in the rest. Do some work on your own. SubhanAllah, it's a beautiful, beautiful, it tells you that how beautiful this book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. And this tells us that, you know, what is important to leave your family with? What is it that you want to leave behind? Now we all think of financial security to be very important. And Ameen Ya Rabbi, inshallah, we all leave our families financially secured. Nobody wants their family to suffer if they depart this world too soon. Nobody wants their families to be begging if they leave this world too soon. So we want to make sure that we leave something there. But financial security is not the only thing that we want to leave for our families. So the Quran is saying, what else could have that person done to leave behind for their families? And nowadays we have this challenge where we're constantly working, hustling and bustling because we want to make sure that our family is financially comfortable. And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant this to all of us, Ya Rabbil Alameen. But that cannot be the only thing that we want to leave for our families. And I tell you that nowadays, as a therapist, I see, my job is to see families. And I see a lot of families where people are staying together, but they're not necessarily living together. They are all under the same roof, but they have separate lives. They may be physically together, but that is the only togetherness that they are experiencing with one another. And what we want to do is that we want to expand our understanding of togetherness to more than just physical togetherness. And all the things that take away from our togetherness, we must get rid of them. And of course, nowadays, this is the most dominant, most powerful tool that is keeping people apart. You see this at the restaurant. See, when I go to these places, I just love to observe people's usage of the phone. You see it on the plane. You see it on the train. You see it as people are just waiting. People are no longer talking to each other. What they're doing is that people are just, everybody's on their phone. We think that this became problematic. Back in the 1980s, a US sociologist wrote a book, John Locke. He wrote a book, and the title of the book is Why We Don't Talk to Each Other Anymore. This is in the 1980s. There was no, internet was not as available, there were no cell phones, yet he wrote a book and he said, why we don't talk to each other anymore. And a part of what was being proposed there is the presence of television. And people would just watch TV, and that's what they did. And he would say, we are not talking to each other anymore. And remember, if we're not talking to each other, we cannot really learn about each other. And people usually say, well, we keep the TV on at home because what does TV does to the family? What does TV, what does it do at home? Yeah, but it does something more important than that. What does TV do? Yeah, more than that.
Background noise.
Background noise. Some people actually do turn on the TV for background noise. But they say that TV keeps peace in the house. Oh, come on, we would be fighting, we would be arguing, we would be doing this, we would be doing this. But put the TV on and it would keep peace, or it would bring supposedly peace into the family. At any case, be it TV, be it social media, whatever it is, this thing is stealing our time. And it's just not stealing our time, but it is stealing our time and it is depriving us from getting to know each other. And when as a family, we do not know each other, can hardly be called a family. Remember, we may be physically living together, but that is really not the only definition of togetherness. Physical togetherness is only the beginning of real togetherness. And then we can say what happened as the result of us being physically with one another. What does togetherness look like? People speak about emotional togetherness. What that means is that people are attuned to where everybody else is emotionally. I am aware when people are upset in the family. They're not doing well in our household. I am aware of that, not because they told me, but because of this togetherness, I can tell that something is wrong. You know, we are emotionally attuned to one another. For example, in the hadith, it says that the Prophet ﷺ once spoke to Aisha and he said, you know, Aisha, I can tell when you are upset. I can tell when you are upset. He said, well, how do you do this, Rasulullah? He said, when you are upset, you tend to swear by Allah by saying, وَرَبِّ إِبْرَاهِيم, I swear by the Lord of Ibrahim. But when we are in good terms, you tend to say, وَرَبِّ Muhammad, by the Lord of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So I can tell you're doing. So Aisha smiles and she said, Ya Rasulullah, إِنَّمَا أَهْدُرُ اسْمَكَ فَقَطْ. She said, Prophet Allah, it is only your name that I do not mention, or it is just this part that I drop, but the feelings never go away. But the beauty of the hadith is when the Prophet ﷺ says that, I am aware. I am aware. I know what is going on with you because we are emotionally attuned. One, please do not undermine emotional attunement with your family members. Knowing that the people around you are upset, or they need our support, or they need to be comforted, wallahi, that is the highest form of what it means to have a good family and a supportive family. And remember this, how we feel and what we are thinking are places where people can only come in by invitation. So I'm not going to let anybody into my heart and my feelings or my thoughts and my head simply because they're family members. No, man. I want to make sure. Can you not hear me, by the way? Do you want me to scream?
It's the sisters on the back.
Also, the sisters can't hear
I
us?
think they took just one speaker, so they're struggling.
Oh. Apologies to the sister, that was a conspiracy by the brothers. So now what happens is, remember how I feel and what I think. How I feel, and this is what you want. How I feel and what I think are places where people can only come in by invitation. Because I said, how are you doing? It doesn't mean that you are going to tell me how you are doing. Wallahi, I remind you, this is a sunnah that many times we forget to practice. Asking each other, how are you doing? That is crucial. It is important. I've heard of many people who have passed away in their homes, and people didn't even There was a case in the book that I told you about, Why We Don't Talk to Each Other Anymore, by John Locke, when he tells the story of a woman in Florida. She passed away, and for 9 weeks she is dead at home, and people did not know that she was dead. And they would interview the neighbors, and they said, well, did you see anything strange? Saying, yeah, the grass was getting taller and it's not being mown, and yeah, we didn't see her come outside, and yeah. So for 9 weeks, this woman is home dead, and nobody knew that she's passed away. So it's very crucial. This idea of how are you doing is very important. And this is what happens usually. You ask the person, how are you doing? Say, alhamdulillah, man, my job is good. Brother, I'm not asking about your job. How are you doing? Well, alhamdulillah, family is good. Brother, I'm not asking about your family. I'm asking about you. How are you doing? Say, alhamdulillah, my health is good. I'm glad your health and your family and your job is good, but that's not my question. How are you doing? And subhanAllah, in most of these cases, people start crying. People start crying. So what's going on? I said, man, nobody asks me anymore, how are you doing? Family members, all we do is we just ask about how is school today. SubhanAllah, when we look into the psychology of communication, they say that we human beings are capable of going into 8 different levels of depth in communication. And most people go to sleep after only the 2nd, maybe sometimes the 3rd level, and that's it. So the first level is asking cliché questions. You really don't mean the question, and the person knows that we really don't care, but we say it because it's a polite thing to do. You see your neighbor, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing fine. Do you really care? So it's cliché. You pick up your kids from school, how was school today? Fine. What did you do? Nothing. Okay, alhamdulillah. They move on. They were at school for 8 hours, and they said they did nothing, and that's okay. That cannot be. Why is that? Because it is cliché. Then we come to the 2nd level of depth. And now what we ask is we ask facts. Did you do your homework? Did you pay the bill? Did you make the appointment? Did you cancel the appointment? Did you fix the car? Did you do this? Did you do that? And then they say most people go to sleep after this. Most people go to sleep after the 2nd level. How many levels did we say we have? 8. And most of us go to sleep only after the 2nd one. What have we exchanged? Cliché and facts, and that's it. And then people go to sleep. So it is important that when we are together, putting this thing aside, what are we going to do in the meantime? We want to revive this idea of togetherness. I want to ask, how are you doing? And I want a response back. But remember, see, if you want to know what's in my heart and what's in my head, you have to come in and you have to knock the door. And I'm going to peek and see who's knocking on the door. If I like you, I'm going to let you in. Or I'm going to let you in. If I don't like you, I'm not going to let you in. So the question is, what would make me as a parent, a husband or a wife or a child or a friend, what would make me admittable? Why would people open the door for me? What is it about me? Listen to this. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what I call the triple A. Approachability, availability, accessibility. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم تحرم النار على كل هين لين سهل قريب من الناس صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said Allah absolutely forbids the hellfire to consume a person who is هين. قالوا في لغة العرب إذا قلت فلان هين هذا ذم، إذا قلت فلان هين هذا مدح. إذا قلت فلان لين هذا ذم. إذا قلت فلان لين هذا مدح. Beautiful play with language here. So the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah forbids the hellfire to consume anybody who is hayn. They're easily pleased. Layn. They are gentle. Hayn. Layn. Sahl. Sahl. They are accessible. قريب من الناس. They are approachable. So availability, accessibility, and approachability is the best way that when people knock on our door and they see, oh, it's that person, they can come in. They can come in. I know I can speak to this person. I know this person will listen. I know this person is going to give me the time. And see, if I come to you and I say, hey, how are you doing? And I do this, you just told me that you really don't have the time. And sometimes the tendency is that this is what we do with our families. And subhanAllah, you know, all these things to be approachable, accessible, and available. It's not about doing a lot of big things, but it is about doing a lot of little things. A lot of little things. But we have a tendency to undermine little things. Smile is a little thing, but many times you see in the hadith it said that the companion came in late to the masjid and it was Fajr time and the masjid was full, but he really needed to ask the Prophet ﷺ a question. He said the masjid was full, so he said I kept, moving people aside and walking in, and the people said that you came in late, just sit down in the back, you came in late. Good. فَرَآنِ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم فَتَبَسَّمَ. Said the Prophet ﷺ looked at me and he smiled. And he said that smile was an invitation for me, you can come. Little things. Smile. Little things. This kid was playing and he fell down and he scratched his elbow. And his father was doing something really, really important and he was finishing a project. So the kid came to his father and said, Baba, look, I scratched my elbow. But Baba was busy doing something really important. So Baba slams the table and goes, what do you want me to do? Do I look like a doctor to you? What do you want me to do? So the kid looked at him and he said, Baba, just say ouch. Just say ouch. That's what you need to do. Remember, little things. A lot of little things, this is what makes the difference. So the saying goes that big things happen only when little things are done right. We want the big things, but we don't like to do the little things. And we continue to do the same thing, hoping for a different outcome, and that never happens. So the story goes to say that a group of people work in some construction site on the outskirts of the city far away. People bring their own food. And this guy, he takes out his lunchtime and it was time for them to eat. So this guy takes out his lunch and he opens his lunch and he sees bologna, every day bologna. I am sick and tired of bologna. And he slams his sandwich on the floor. So his friend looked at him and he said, man, if you don't like bologna, just tell your wife you don't like bologna. He looked at him and said, man, my wife doesn't make my sandwich, I make my own sandwich. But here is the interesting part. He made bologna sandwich in the morning, and when it was lunchtime, he expected something else. Steak, caviar, Allahu A'lam. But if you make bologna sandwich in the morning, guess what? You're having bologna for lunch. So now the tendency is that we make the sandwich in the morning, but we won't have something else in the during lunchtime. Currently, social media it's a beautiful tool. Nobody can argue that. And please do not argue the obvious. Arguing the obvious does not make us more religious. denying the obvious does not make us more religious. The Quran tells us, do not argue the obvious. How? In the Quran we are told, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ. Isn't they inquire, they ask you about alcohol and intoxicants and gambling? Let the people know that in them there is a big sin and some benefit to people. Are there benefits to gambling? Are there benefits to gambling? And for £1 you get a million. Is that good or bad? Some people think that it's religious to say bad, astaghfirullah, bad. It is good. Don't deny the obvious. It's good. Intoxicants, alcohol. Is there some good in alcohol? Is there some good in alcohol? Yes, there is. Smoke marijuana. Is something good in marijuana? Are there any good in marijuana? Come on, experts. Is there anything good in marijuana? Yeah, man. There is a lot of good in marijuana. It relaxes you temporarily, gets rid of your anxiety. It's a good medication for nausea, especially for people who have chemo. They're going through the chemo radiation therapy with cancer and people who have HIV. Yeah, it's good. But that's not where the Quran stops. The Quran then says, وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. However, the sin and the problem in them is far greater than the benefit that they offer you. But the point here, the Quran is saying that do not deny the obvious. See, when people do not deny the obvious, you can actually engage in a healthy argument with them. It can be intellectually very stimulating because you're not denying the obvious. So we're not going to deny the obvious by saying that this is bad. Let me say, look man, there is a lot of good in this, so long that we use it the correct way, there is a lot of good in it. The problem is the way that we are using it. See, this is not called halal or haram. This is mubah, this is permissible. What you do with it makes it halal or haram. So what happens now is that people use social media and TV and all these instruments simply because maybe the conveniency, maybe they're staying in touch, and that's all good, but it is the overusage of it that is problematic. And I was reading of the people who, some of the people that actually produce, what's that called when you make an app? What is that called? Develop an app. You know who's employed in the development of apps? Psychologists. Where do these psychologists come from? You know, where do they come from? They're the same psychologists that are employed by Las Vegas. Because now the idea is what? To create a sense of dependence. How many times have you heard people say, man, if I lose my phone, I die? How many of you feel this way? If I lose my phone, man, I die. Okay. You take it away, your kid's phone for a day, and see what happens to them. Become very angry, they become very irritable, they are depressed. They are going through what we call withdrawal symptoms. They're like the same type of reaction that people get if they're alcoholics and they're not getting their alcohol, they get withdrawal symptoms. And remember, we want to speak, like I said yesterday, beyond just labeling things as haram and halal. That is part of the solution, but that is not the only solution. And when you look into the Quran, see, every time the Quran says that something is haram, there is usually a lot of halal alternatives. Alcohol is haram, but man, all other kinds of drinks are halal. Pork is haram, but everything else is halal. Riba is haram, but all other forms of transactions are halal. So the Quran tells you that this is haram, but then there are other alternatives. And I think that the challenge that we have is the alternatives. Creating alternatives that actually compete with this. And this is a very, very tough competition, by the way. This is an extremely tough competition. So we say, put that down and do what? And do what? So just few ideas. So they say that in psychology and sociology, they found out that a household where in the living room, usually most people have the TV in their living rooms, right? And the minute you sit on the couch, what is the first thing that you do? You find the remote. Sisters, if you ever want to drive your husband crazy, hide the remote. Okay? So what happens is people sit down and the first thing that they do is find the remote and then you turn on it. Even if you're not watching, the TV is on. And then what are we doing? We're flipping the channel. So they found out, they said, look, if you disconnect the TV and instead you bring in a bookshelf with books in them, said that what they found out is that people actually sit down and people just grab a book and they start reading. Developing better habits, creating better alternatives. And remember, these things initially are difficult to do, but the whole idea is to develop a better habit. As they say, a bad habit is like a comfortable bed. Very easy to get into and very difficult to get out of. And this is where we are at this point. We are in this comfortable bed. It was very easy to fall into, but it is very difficult to get out of. Talking about the amount of time. Yesterday I learned, somebody told me about the parental control on my phone that I did not know about. And I found out that the developer of Apple actually did not want a parental control as an option on the phone. Because what to them, it's like the longer you stay on the phone, the longer you are on this, the better it is, the more money that they make. They're talking about nowadays, video games is actually an addiction. We, in counseling, we can diagnose somebody as being addicted to video games. It is very common that nowadays you go to the chiropractor and they can diagnose you with the texting neck, which means that people are doing this all the time and they're developing all kinds of neck problems. And you go there and the chiropractor asks, how much time are you spending on your phone? Say, I'm on my phone all the time. Say, well, it seems like you have the texting neck, where people are just constantly doing this. It comes with physical consequences, it comes with emotional consequences, with becoming dependent on it, and worst of all, it is also coming at a societal consequence because our families are physically together, but they're not necessarily together. So inshallah, 3 more minutes inshallah, and I finish. So remember, emotional togetherness, being attuned to those who are around us. Second one is really important, and that's what we call recreational togetherness. And that is people who are actually not only are aware of each other's emotional state, but these are also people who actually have fun together. One of the most beautiful ways of building stronger bonds with one another is when people do something fun together, especially as family. Developing the idea of recreational togetherness. Alhamdulillah, we are in an area where road trips are easy. Camping, hiking, fishing, whatever the case is, these types of togetherness. Remember in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ would be racing with Aisha. And this is part of what we call recreational togetherness. You also have got the idea of intellectual togetherness. People learning from each other. The parents are initially teaching, and then the kids are teaching, but there is this idea of exchanging. I am at the stage right now, and I don't know if anybody is going through this, where my children know better English than I do. Anybody going through this? That your children know better English than you do? They make fun of your pronunciation. and they speak in such a way and they say a word and I have no idea what it means, and then I'm ending up learning from my kids, and my kids are teaching me. Okay, so kids, are you doing this with your parents, by the way? You speak better English than your parents? But see, that's something to be celebrated. Okay? He used to ask me in the past, what does this mean? And I would just say, because of the small books that they were reading. And now they're reading bigger books. And I think they're getting to the point where they're saying, oh, wow, doesn't know. They're just going to be reading, they're just going to be finding it on their own. However, the point now is that there is intellectual togetherness that's taking place. Finally, there is what we call also dream togetherness. Okay? What are your dreams? And does the family have the time to share these dreams together? Sharing dreams. You know what's your wife's dream? Your husband's dream? What are your kids dreaming of? What are people in the family dreaming of? And these are questions that I love for us to take back and say, look, this is going to be a tough competition to put down. But the minute we make our time together a fun time, then putting this down is less complicated. It is not going to be as difficult because the alternative is a good alternative. Inshallah, this is not just, and this is never a one-man show. So what you want to do is that this type of togetherness, the community togetherness, family togetherness, where people come in, people who share the same values and principles, we can come in and create a kind of togetherness that makes these types of things more enjoyable and what have you. But do please remember, people will only enjoy our togetherness when they find us to be approachable, accessible, and available. Why do children love television? Because at any given time of the day or night, hot or cold, if you turn on that TV, the TV will come on. You want to be entertained, I will entertain you. You want the Discovery Channel and learn, I will teach you. Whatever you want, TV says, I will always be there. You can always count on TV. In fact, we can count on TV more than we can count on our own family members. Anybody here has a TV that one time you tried to turn on and says, not now? I have a headache. Can't you see I'm busy? It's too cold. Are you serious? It's 3 a.m. Don't you have any respect? TV doesn't do that. TV says, you can count on me 24/7, any time of the day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our families. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in creating healthier alternatives, Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the best of togetherness, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khair, and I think our Hamid is up next.
Engaged in the communities almost about 38 years now. I worked within the job center with the advisory roles for 12 years, within the community for many years. So I'm going to share with you some of the probably practical aspects. It's quite hard to come after Sheikh Yasser Fazaga. MashaAllah, his delivery was brilliant. My participation was meant to be directly involved in my experience with employment, but I can see Ustaz Abdul Hakim tried to spice it up, add a few things to it. So I haven't got much time, so what I will do is I will talk about the media aspects and how we're handling the media aspect, but at the same time as well, I see a lot of young people. I'm going to just highlight some of the issues that we face with employment. Okay, some just key areas that you might not be aware of. Okay, I hope that will help. The starting point with the media, social media, we all know we have responsibilities and we are engaged heavily. It is fact, it's part of our daily life, it's something we cannot avoid, okay? But what we need to be mindful is how much that's feeding into our daily positive intakes, or how much is that contributing to demolish what we are building. So sometimes what we are building for 24 hours can be demolished by one message, by one picture, by split of seconds of video. So it's important to be aware what's happening around you, for yourself, for the children, for everyone, dealing cultural aspects and the family affairs. The first thing always, you know, when you talk about media, you talk about Facebook, you talk about LinkedIn, you talk about job interview, you talk about visiting friends, probably engaging, approaching family to ask for their daughters, or family asking about you. The first thing comes in mind always is the image. It's very, very important, it's the image. What kind of image you put in yourself when you are putting your picture or your profile or your name on social media. What kind of image you want people to know about you? When you crack a joke among groups, what kind of image you want people to see in you? When you are in a group and you are loved by those groups, what kind of image those groups have about you, and you want that to be replicated Yawm al-Qiyamah? Is that the kind of things you want those groups to be talking about you Yawm al-Qiyamah? Is that the kind of things that you want in your sahaif to be, in your good deeds, in your bad deeds? What kind of image that you are creating for yourself? I say this because I work a lot with young people, okay? And it's quite simple in today's date to find out about a person just by going through their Facebook or LinkedIn or any information. And we do that as employees, to find friends, as somebody working within probably fundraising, communication. We do this. We investigate about people and to know who they are, what they like, what they don't like, what kind of person you're going to meet in the next few minutes. It's quite important. It's becoming an integral part of our life. And very soon, Google will enable you to identify a person within a split of seconds. Probably you'll have a pair of glasses. When you look at the person, I don't know, somehow, it will give you a full profile of that person. This is in the pipeline, it's coming up. Very soon people will be just looking at you and they will find out who you are. So it's important to present yourself the way you want to be known, not just randomly. Okay? Having said that, you see nowadays, you speak to your son or daughter about Islam, about Sunnah, about Sahaba, about so many things. And then one message, just one message, comes through WhatsApp or Facebook. Somebody said about one of the Sahaba, or somebody said about one of the Mashayikh. He made a mistake, okay, he's a human after all. But do you understand the consequence of someone looking at those kind of messages without understanding the background of the issue? It's quite dangerous. There is a lot of shift in our deen these days, a lot of shifts. A lot of highlight in the media about the mistakes by scholars, by some of the books that's considered to be the guidance for this ummah. And you get a lot of messages. And sometimes you think you have discovered something and you send it to your 200 people contacts without even considering the consequence of that. Without you reading about that topic, without checking, simply you can copy any message that comes to you. When you WhatsApp, you can copy it and paste it on Google search, and you will find the background of that message. Wallahi, there is no need to send the messages to 200 people, 300 people, 2,000 people in your phone list. just because you thought this message is correct. So we have to be very careful. And this takes you to the ultimate responsibility you as a person. And in the hadith, someone will say a word that will make him close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and grant him Jannah. And someone will say a word that he thinks is useless, that will drag him into the hellfire. In another hadith, تهوي به في جهنم 70 خريفا. Yani you go to the depth of Jahannam for 70 years, even you don't reach the bottom of it. So this is how important it is for you to know what kind of message you are spreading. And very often, when I speak to my students, I have wonderful students, age of 14 to 18 in Arabic school. Very often, their knowledge is through the WhatsApp messages. SubhanAllah, he talked to them about so many things, and the only thing that comes to their mind is a strong message they receive through WhatsApp or through the social media. And is this true about Islam? Is this true about this leader? Is this the reality? And so on. So this is the kind of teaching we are spreading. So, why is that important? First of all, for your own personal, okay? Wherever you go, whether it's a job interview, whether it's meeting people, whether it's in a social network, you need to realize the first 10 seconds always is a defining moment, first impression. And funny enough, when these days, for instance, when you apply for jobs, I used to handle like between 300 to 500 CVs every day. There was a time when we used to look at so many CVs. And these days, it's obviously the engine is taking over. And I'm going to give you a little advice on how to deal with these CVs. And what we used to do is amazing. You've got 500 CVs and you only have 10 or probably 20 minutes to decide the 20 CVs that you have to properly check. The rest, it has to be at a glance, just quickly. So it takes about, literally, it takes about 3 to 5 seconds to check a CV. That's all it takes. You've got so many, you've got 3 to 5 seconds to decide if this CV is worth looking at or not. So you just look at the first two lines, the profile, the person, how they are introducing themselves. So when you see similarity, I am an enthusiastic person, keen, hard-working, the same thing that people copy and paste, you just put the CV to side quickly. And then you look at the layout, you just put it to side. You look at the font, and you see the font like not organized, just put it to the side. You see somebody so proud of their picture, they put the picture, and then after the picture, it's just, you feel there is no substance, so you put it to one side. So there are so many factors in your head, just quickly. And then you end up with 20, 30 CVs, you look at them, and then you decide the first 10 or 5 interviews that you will have to offer. So it's the same thing as well when people invite you for an interview. It's what kind of image you are presenting to that person. The first 5-10 seconds, the way you shake people's hand, the way you conduct yourself, the way you dress, the way you smile, the way you bring yourself to the forefront, it all counts in the first 10 seconds. And it's the same thing when you go in a meeting and you hope from that meeting to make good connection, to have good friends, to have a good network. It's the same thing how you're presenting yourself. Are you presenting yourself as someone who is looking support and help from people, or somebody to add that has substance, have something to contribute? And it's always, remember, the upper hand is always better, as indeed in the hadith. Okay, the upper hand is always, wherever you go, if people feel that you are here to contribute, is much better concept that you are here to seek help. So even if you are there to offer yourself an employment, you can always introduce yourself as somebody who can add something to the company, who can add something to the organization, who can add as a volunteer something extra to that group. You always have that habit of introducing yourself as a positive person. It makes huge difference. Rather than somebody's coming to you, what's your name? So and so. Why are you here? Well, I haven't got my chances. It's been like 5, 6 years. Already you're telling them you've been a failure for 5, 6 years, for 10 years, and you don't know what to do. And that person probably has got only a few minutes to decide among the groups around them who to pick up or who to communicate with or who to build a network. Very often in universities, universities will invite companies in project management, in other areas. People come and give talk. And when they give talk, normally after the talk, they will just have a chat quickly with the students. And you don't know how the impact of that is quite great. Because very often they are, in their mind, they might be inviting 1 or 2 persons to take part in their probably recruitment or probably some kind of work experience. That could be the way for you. So your image and how you introduce yourself, very, very, very important. Recently I met a young man, and subhanAllah, when he met a company, he finished his schools or education outside UK, and he was here, and he met this company. The way he was presenting himself to this company was, yes, I have my education outside UK, but I'm able to do 1, 2, 3 if you give me a chance. And the company was, okay, we haven't got employment, but if you can do 3 months of work experience with us, we'll give you a chance. Trust me, that person, within a few weeks, he was offered a job. Within a few months, he quit that job and went to Cambridge. He did his master. Within a couple of years, he was working in New York in some of the biggest companies, and then he was employed here in one of the biggest companies. His attitude is the same. When you meet him, the first thing you feel about him, he's a person who's going to add something. When you talk to him about problem, he talks about solution. It's kind of becoming part of his genes. That you tell him we have a problem with our community, and immediately he will think, what is the problem? Or communication. Hey, there are plenty of platforms. Why people are not thinking about platforms? You can do 1, 2, 3, 4. He's always positive. If you tell him about problem, he's not going to pat you up and say, yes, we have problem and we are failure, the community is not doing enough, young people, they are lost, our generation. He's not that kind of person, wallahi. You talk to him so pleasant, wallahi, that person. You tell him a problem, he will just change it quickly to, okay, it's a challenge, and we can all face it. We can do something about it. Rather than you moan, the other person moan, and then within the next few minutes, you put yourself in a situation where you feel you are a failed person, you are a failed community, you are a failed group. And this is quite often, by the way, in our community. I know we have some brothers from outside the Eritrean community, but the majority are here, Eritreans. We have that problem. We always talk about the issue that we have, and then before we know it, within few minutes, not hours, within few minutes, you're talking about a failure. You're talking about a failed community. You're talking about the young people are able to do this. Our generation didn't do this. Our parents didn't teach us, didn't give us the chance, didn't pass us the legacy. And then what's the outcome? Everyone is disappointed. And there is nothing you can do about it. There is no action plan. There is no encouragement for anyone to step ahead and do something different. And you end up going into the same circle. I don't know if brothers here, they know the groups from Pen and Paper in Sweden. They are young people, they set up organization. They happened to visit the refugee camps in Sudan, the refugee camps. You know what, when they came back, they did not think about the issue as a problem and we are here and there's not much we can do or we can donate little money. Wallahi, they were all young, they were all 18, 19 years old at that time. Or even younger, I think they were 17. When they came back, they just said, what can we do? What kind of help we can bring to those communities? For them, the issue wasn't now we discover there is a problem in the refugee camps, let's just bombard people with messages, with pictures. It wasn't. For them, taking action was the prime important issue. So they ended up setting organization just simple. What if we can provide a school with pen and paper? We are young, maybe we don't have the money yet, but I'm sure everyone can afford £1, £2. and then we collect the money, give it to organization, just buy pen and paper to those schools. That organization, by the way, today grew, mashallah, in the past 5-6 years. They are all professionals working in professional field, and mashallah, they are funding a number of schools today. They fund books, they fund teacher's salary, they fund a lot of programs. This was simply for them just spreading the news that there is a problem. That wasn't the issue. That's easy to be done. It's easy always to pass information about issue that's happening around you. It's easy to pass information that there is a sister who took off her hijab. It's easy to pass, look at this young Muslim, he did this and this. Wallah, it's easy. Look at our youth, what's happening to them. Send a message, click. In Indonesia, this is happening, click. In Malaysia, this is happening, look, click. And subhanAllah, you are consuming your time with passing messages that have nothing to do with your group, with your community, with your society. You receive messages about things, wallah, so far from your influences, and yet you have the time to pass that message to 200, 300, 500 people. By the way, I don't think the world today is much worse than it was a few years back. But what's happening today is we're getting the news much faster. If a crime happened in Newcastle, within 1 hour it's in your hand. This was 1 hour, now it's within a few seconds. You get it? A sister's hijab was pulled in Glasgow. You get it within 5 seconds, there is a crisis, there is a problem. Pass that message quickly. And yet you forget, mashallah, you are in Birmingham, you have the freedom to go to pray Fajr anytime. You have so many mosques that, subhanallah, praying Fard in masjid probably in Birmingham become like obligatory, because masjid is around the corner, you have no excuse. And you forget all the blessing that we have. One incident somewhere, it overshadowed everything that's happening. It overshadowed all the mashayikh, all the scholars, all the hard work by the imams, by the volunteers they are doing. You forget all that, and you just repeatedly send a message that's one negative incident that happened somewhere. Yes, you need to raise awareness, but we need to have a balance. We cannot knock off our community. I know one sister, wallahi, one young girl, who only a few weeks ago, she removed her hijab. The reason? Because one of the boys in the school, and it happened to be a Muslim boy, pulled her hijab. Now she's afraid. Maybe the people around her did not handle the whole situation correctly. But this girl, she's only 15. And she's terrified. This young man, for whatever reason, what he was thinking, Allah knows, he pulled her hijab in front of everyone, and everyone laughed. Yes, the school took action. He was punished. He was, there was a procedure was followed, and everything was done correctly. But the issue is, probably she wasn't given the right advice, and probably the message was spread around about her being laughed at rather than trying to deal with the main situation. So spreading all this irresponsibly, wallah azim, does not help our society at all. Does not help. There's so many good things happening. And our young people, they deserve all the opportunities that's available. And this is what we need to do. The other thing is, the more good messages spread around, it has impact on the people around you. It's quite easy to influence people, whether it's negative or positive. And throughout our history, if you read philosophy, it's amazing how social sometimes the entire nation shaped because of someone have an idea of how to shape the entire society, how to engine a whole society, how to create a whole system that can keep the poor people poor, the rich, people in power. You don't understand it, but it is something that we follow blindly. We follow blindly. And you will be surprised when people with knowledge and skills and experience and who did study history and they present to you why we are in this situation, you will be surprised. A simple concept, for instance, for the majority of our society, being a poor is an accepted concept. You are a poor, then what is the positive being a poor? And that's what we feed our mind and probably the children's mind. Being a poor, it means you are ahead in Jannah. Being a poor, it means you are loved more by Allah, by the Prophet. Being a poor, no. Poor is a status. Sah, there is qadar, but there is element of effort as well to come out of poverty. There is an element of effort and hard work to come out of poverty. And you cannot accept that your situation, this is your destination. You are 18, 19 years old, you came from a poor family, that's your destination. It's not. There is way out of poverty. You can develop yourself, you can achieve and attain the highest qualification, you can do what you want in this world because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enabled you and gave you all the skills, knowledge, opportunities like everyone else. Everyone else born with the same number of cells. We are all born with the same number of cells. We all have the same ground that we start from. Yes, some people, they have the opportunity of being from rich family, but still you have the opportunity to learn, to probably go as high as you can in your education. But the concept that it's okay to be within that society is dangerous. So you are afraid to step out of that zone. You are afraid to step out of your home. You are a young person, you are 23, 25, 26. You are afraid to come out of Birmingham. You don't think going to London, probably struggling for a year or 2 years, is worth it. No, it's worth it. If your field is to go to Glasgow and live there, go. Seek opportunity there. If the industry you are in is mostly available in Newcastle because there is more industry there, try it. Try it for a year. But for you to believe that this is it, this is your limitation, and this is the opportunity presented to you, and it's all lies within, around you only, it's a false perception that you are feeding your mind. You can come out of it. A lot of people, subhanAllah, who probably thought they will not succeed, wallahi, it's amazing. Because, subhanAllah, sometimes when you look at the young people from certain age, and then you see them in 5, 10 years at time, and you see the difference, you understand sometimes what happened. In my life, I've seen groups, when they were 18, 19, as a group, how they created the image for themselves. For that particular group, wallah, I'm telling you, this is a real story that I'm so amazed when I reflect back. In my Arabic school, we had groups who entire engagement was only football. I'm not saying football is bad, only football and having fun. And now, 15 years, 20 years, still that's the kind of mentality they have. They grow a little bit. So yesterday they were playing, today they are sitting in a cafe watching live games, they have simple job, but this is the life circle for them. And they are happy with that. And you see another group who at the age of 17, 18, they were striving for something different. And those groups, they were together, and they would feed each other with positive thoughts. And this group, wallahi, most of them, they are into higher management, they are doctors, and you see them in a different world. Some of them delivering lectures, and when you look at how they built their portfolio or their life, you will understand it was about selecting the right groups around you, because you need to push each other. And this is not an easy and a simple way. Yes, you have friends, and yes, you have people that you are distant almost because of the location or the locality. You have to be with them all the time. But sometimes you have to divorce that group. You have to be brave and divorce that group. You have to say it's enough. It's time to move on. I will change, okay, the circle that I'm around. Young people, you need to be brave, wallah, because if people want to know who you are, they can only look at your friends and they can decide who you are. In Arabic there is a saying, okay? If you want to know a person, just look at the circle around him and you know who is that person. So sometimes making those decisions, because all they feed you, remember, on the social media, it's the same thing that you want to hear. You are interested in certain news, you will get that certain news all the time. Sisters, you are interested in certain area of news, not even all the news, it will be always the same type of news. Maybe fake news, maybe news about something that's happening around you, maybe stories that for that moment make you feel engaged, send a message, but is it adding anything to you? Nothing. Is it improving the way you're thinking? Nothing. Is it making you a better Muslim? No. Is it increasing in your knowledge? No. Is it taking time from you? Yes. Is it feeding negative thoughts? Yes, it is. And you will end up, after quite a few years, you are accustomed to this. And this is the dangerous area. Once you are accustomed, it becomes normal. Once it's a normal, that's your life. Nothing will change. And by the way, our kids, from their childhood, they are going through the same circle but faster. It's faster. That's the difference. It's going through the same dilemma but in a faster, probably lane. So we need to be mindful as well what they watch, how they watch. If you need to sit down with them, sit down. The final thing about this, which is very important, is for parents in particular, and for all the brothers and sisters, be patient when dealing with issues with young people or with friends. The reason, many of the ulama, they say, تسقع أعشار التربية التجاهل. 9 times out of 10, if you want to improve someone, it's just to ignore their bad habits. It's not to highlight it. Whether it's spreading words through the social media, whether repeating it back to that person, 9 times out of 10, when you see a negative behavior, just ignore it. Wallah, it's hard to do, but just ignore it. As a parent, do not nag with your child for every mistake they do. Pretend you have not seen it. That's the only way to not highlight or magnify the negative behavior. And then focus on the positive things. Look at that negative part. You've seen them watching a lot of TV or playing on their iPad. Don't go moaning about, you're watching too much, this is becoming like 5 hours a day. Don't. Give them a replacement. Stop talking about that negative stigma and then focus on the positive area. Give them something. Give them alternative. You see your daughter maybe not dressed properly, agree with your daughter about nice clothes that you want to buy her, or push her to go and purchase something that's really nice but of her choice. Develop that positive choice in her, rather than every day talking about the jeans she's wearing or the clothes she's wearing. Give her the opportunity to go shopping, give her the money, and just encourage her to buy something good. They will do wallahi. You do that once, twice, 3 times, and they will follow. But give them alternative, rather than just talking negatively about the reason, because for now they are listening to you. They are 13, they are listening to you. They rely on you. They are 15, 16, they are frustrated. Now their brain is having their own now calculations, okay, they are making their own decisions. But yet, they are under your supervision. They will listen to you. The moment a teenage or a young person have the power to disconnect from you, that's when they will start not listening. And then you will have problem. And much of the family's problem here in UK is when children reach around 16, 17, because that's the age where they are able maybe to go out of home, or you cannot threaten them anymore. You cannot say, if you don't do this, I will. Okay? Because simply they might choose the alternative option they have. So just be patient and try, okay, to observe. And 9 out of 10 times you need to be just ignoring those negative behaviors, which is important. So this is in terms of the media. I'm not going to go into further, because I know a lot of young people here, maybe I prepared something to do with jobs as well, okay, which is very important for you to know. I don't know how many of you know, in the past it was the way I select my candidates. You see a lot of CVs and physically you look at them. Nowadays it's a machine, correct? The application sifting system. It's a machine who choose those applications, correct? So, just important for you to know, if you are going through employment, number one, make sure if you have a LinkedIn, Facebook, and any other social media, have a bit of consistency, okay? It's very important, especially if you are looking for a professional work that the employer likely to check on you. So have consistency, okay? So show a bit of consistency in the way you present yourself, the way you select items, share items. Is quite important, okay? And be careful about what you select. Number two, you know, with the machine these days, the machine is programmed to pick up certain words. So there are 5 elements that you need to be careful when you are applying for any job or when you are using CVs. So one of the areas is always be aware of the keywords for that job application. Right? I still receive a lot of inquiries why my CVs haven't been read. I've applied for so many jobs and not even a single reply. When you apply for any job, don't use the same CV again and again and you expect and nothing happening and you expect a different result tomorrow. The reason, read the job description of that particular job, okay? And then just add few words to your CV to reflect what the employer will want, okay? That's important for all of us. The other thing is, so if you, in the job description, there are keywords, use them. If you don't, the machine will pick up the same negative result that picked up in the past. The other area is use a well-established titles. So if you are using a title for any job, particular job, okay, try to see if that title is in common with all the job titles in the industry. Don't use an old one, the machine will not read it. You might have like 5, 6 jobs, but most of them are not known in the industry. Your CV will not do you justice. Okay, that's very important. The third one is, when you put your skills and your experience, again, look at the job description and use the appropriate word. This is important because if you don't do that, again, I know very close friends, some of our young people who are applying again and again and again every single day and nothing happening. So those are key areas. The other area is list the qualification that's related to that job as well, and try to highlight some of the key areas within the qualification. Because if you just list qualification that's relevant to that job, the employer, they want specific qualifications, specific certificates, so you will not be read. Again, you will miss out. It's similar to how we used to do when we used to sift the CVs for large employers. You look for certain areas, and if it's not happening, it's not happening. And just on the final note, checking on LinkedIn, and this is, I don't know if you are familiar with this concept, but when I speak to a lot of employers, they say they are impressed sometimes by the direct contact from job applicants to a particular people on that company. So if your company is big and you go through the LinkedIn and you find a person that's working for that company, don't hesitate to contact them. Just say, I'm applying for this company, and this is me, this is my profile, any advice. They are more happy with the person that's proactive, finding out about the companies, finding out about the personnel of these companies, than somebody who just throw their CVs. It's very important for you to get to know the company and then try to link yourself to that company through LinkedIn, through people in that industry. It's very, very key for you to open doors. If you don't do that, you'll be knocking doors, probably other 1,000 people doing the same thing. And I'm talking here about jobs that could be a good ladder for you. Not just a common retail jobs or anything, but in the professional world. This is very important issue. And do not get frustrated, because subhanAllah, very often the opportunity that presented to you, you might not know, but Allah knows best. There are people who missed out on big opportunities, and then they found another one, and then they discover if they went for that industry, their life wouldn't be the same. People who applied for Cambridge University, Oxford University, and they deservedly, they could have been in that university, they ended up with another university, now they are in a better position. Allah knows, because they have a better companion there, better friends. For some reason, the professors, the lecturers in those universities looked after them, and they ended up, rather than just doing degree, they ended up doing master, they ended up doing PhD, and they ended up in a much better position. So don't be disappointed, but use all the means you can. Tawakkal ala Allah, do whatever you can, and then give it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'll be around inshallah for half an hour. If you need any help or advice in that area, I'm more than happy. And finally, just on the media side, just remember, whatever we do today, it will impact you back. So don't think you are far away. Those who have kids, if I think I'm protecting my kids only, remember the neighbors, they will be interacting with your kids. The wider society, they will be interacting with your kids. So whatever we do, have the intention to protect the wider society as much as you're trying to protect your own children. And this is how it works in Islam. In Islam, it's not about your own family only, it's about the wider society. The more you do for the wider society, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you more protection for your family. Jazakumullah khair, wa wish inshallah all the best for the remaining of the program. I think my 20 minutes or 30 minutes up. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you. I think Dr. Yasser. People might want him for questions.
So we wanted Dr. Yasser to come, but he's suggesting that we need to eat and drink and coffee, so let's have some refreshments. Jazakumullah khair. Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. In the name of Allah, the compassionate and most merciful, all praise is due to Allah, and may His peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Once again, I begin by greeting you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Jazakumullah khair, you have been very, very patient, mashallah. And people think that it is the speaker that does the teaching and the attendees are doing the learning. And wallah, I promise you many times, I can tell you this, that we do a lot more learning from you than you do learning from us when we speak. You know, the evolution of patience and perseverance and tolerance is amazing, mashallah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all and bless your families, ya Rabbil Alameen. So this part of the conference is, or this topic of the conference is really one that is a favorite of mine. Talking about families and how we can have and make the proper tools to make sure that we have good families. Remember what I said earlier about the way that the Quran uses parables. And this is a talk that I have given before. And subhanAllah, I love the fact that the Quranic approach to the topic is just beautiful. Allah tells us in the Quran, مثل الذين اتخذوا من دون الله أولياء كمثل العنكبوت اتخذت بيتا وإن أوهن البيوت لبيت العنكبوت لو كانوا يعلمون. The parables of those who have taken an ally, a protector besides Allah, is like the spider that has developed for itself or built for itself a web. and indeed the flimsiest, the weakest of houses is the one that is built by the spider. And nowadays science tells us that the web that is made by the spider is so strong, in fact it is stronger than steel, and that is why it is referred to as biosteel. See, steel is strong if you can stretch it twice its actual size. That's very, very strong. You take the web or the silk that is made by the spider and you can actually stretch it 6 times its actual length. That makes it very, very strong, yet Allah tells us it is the flimsiest and the weakest of homes. They're talking about if you are to build, if we can make that silk in a 1-inch diameter, we can actually suspend a 747 airplane on the silk that is made by that web or by that spider. Yet Allah tells us it is the flimsiest. It is the weakest. So on the surface, the verse seems to be contradicted by science. In fact, we know now that when the spider builds its web, if you break the web at certain points, now any structure, if you do that to it, the structure becomes weaker. The web of the spider actually becomes stronger. In certain places, it would become 15% stronger. In other places, it might even become 35% stronger than what it used to be. Yet Allah tells us the flimsiest and the weakest is the one that is built by the spider. So people say, maybe it's flimsy and weak because, you know what, oh, by the way, that web can also stop a bee flying at the speed of 15 miles per hour. That web will actually stop it. Very strong. Yet Allah tells us it is the weakest and it is the flimsiest. So people say it may be like that, but actually sometimes a drop of water can bring it down. A kid playing with a stick can actually bring it down. It takes too long to build, but it can also be easily destroyed. So some people say, in that sense, it is weak. Other people have also suggested that, well, here's what happens in the inside of the web. So they say that as soon as the male and the female spider, as soon as they mate, the male spider has to run away because the female spider would want to kill him. They speak about when mama spider gets hungry and there is nothing to eat, mama spider actually devours its own eggs. It would eat its own eggs. Some people also observe that once the eggs hatch, the stronger brothers and sisters, they devour their own siblings. That's their first meal, each other. So some people say that the weakness of that home is not because of the external danger, but it is actually the internal danger that makes that home a lousy and a flimsy home. And sometimes we have the tendency that we want to build a house that is beautiful, that is big. Alhamdulillah, if you have one, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless it for you. If you want one, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give it to you. If you already have one, may Allah give you more. The question now is, the tendency is that we pay so much attention to the skeleton of the building, but not to the spirit of the building. Pay so much attention that we want to make sure that it's strong, it's like physically strong, but we really don't care as to what happens inside that building. And that is unacceptable, my brothers and sisters. And some of us, family is very important because family is where we seek protection, that's where we seek love, that's where we seek empowerment, that's where we seek encouragement. And I am not afraid of the dangers that are outside, but actually my life is more dangerous when I am with my own family members. And that is sad. So you hear about domestic violence. You hear about all kinds of abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse. And this is happening inside. So when you see this, you say, look, there is a mistake that's being done. And that is we pay attention to the physical structure of the house, but not really to the spirit of the home that we are creating. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, don't be like this. Do not be like this. So how can I not be like this? What is needed? What are the proper tools for me that are needed so that I can say I am not making that mistake? The triple A. 3 things, and they all start with the letter A, that we must make sure that we employ in our families. Attention, affection, appreciation. Attention. Attention basically means that if I believe that my family members are the most important people in my life, I would make sure that they get most of my attention. Because these are the people who I claim to be the most important people to me, but if I don't give them attention, that claim is not true. One of the best example comes from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We know that in the seerah they say that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would receive delegations. Important people come in. You know, the head of this tribe and the head of that tribe, this family is very important. And they would come and the Prophet ﷺ would be meeting with them. And then all of a sudden in the hadith it said that Fatima, his daughter radiallahu anha, would walk in. And the minute Fatima walks in, the Prophet ﷺ gets up. He walks towards his daughter. He kisses her on the forehead and he makes her sit next to him. What about the people that were just sitting there? You are important. But when my daughter walks in, and she is the most important. And I am going to let her know that she is the most important. I am going to let the people around me know that when my family walks in, my family are the most important. The Prophet ﷺ would be given a khutbah. He would be addressing people in the pulpit. Al-Hassan and Hussein, they walk in and they start, walking and dropping, and the person leaves the pulpit. He goes and he picks his grandchildren and he comes back and he's holding both of them because I know, just left the khutbah. Said, when I saw them walking, my heart melted. Couldn't really help it, and I needed to pay attention to them. The way that some of the parents speak, the way that we speak is that we say, man, I would give my children anything, man. Allah, I give them my eyes, I give them my heart, I give them my kidney. Brother, please keep your eyes and your heart and kidney and keep your liver to yourself. Give us a few hours a day. Keep all that stuff to yourself. But give attention to your family members. Are you following? So the first one is attention. Number 2, appreciation. Appreciation basically means I see you, I see the good that you do, and I will point it out. I see you, I see the good that you do, and I will point it out. I will catch you doing something right. See, the tendency when we are within our families, we like to catch people doing something that is wrong. How about catch me doing something that is right? Why not do that? In the US, and I'm very sure in your schools here, they, in the elementary school, they came up with a card. It's called the I got you card. I caught you, I got you. And basically what happens is that the card is given to different teachers. And the teachers would be walking around campus or they would be at school, and every time they see a kid doing something that is right, they come to the kid and say, I got you. I caught you. Not red-handed, not guilty, not with your pants down. I caught you doing something that is right, so the kid is presented with a card. At the end of the week, they collect the kids, they collect their cards and see who has the most cards, and that kid gets to be invited to have lunch with the principal in appreciation to the fact that he did a lot of good. Funny, imagine, within our families, the tendency is that we're very critical of one another. We're constantly talking about the wrong that everybody else does. But rarely do we take the time to appreciate the good that people do. And people may be doing good all the time. She might be cooking fantastic food throughout the year. But one day, something got burned. Something was extra here. And we make a big deal out of this, forgetting that, man, that's not how it is all the time. In fact, this is such an exception, yet we make a big deal of the exception, and the norm, we tend to minimize it. SubhanAllah, appreciation, encouragement is good. Lately, I love to cook. I cook good. Actually, I'm a very good cook. I really cook good. So what happened is I picked on the habit of cooking, and now I'm learning how to cook Indian food. And now I can make all kinds of masala. I make the chicken masala. And then one day I started making dal. And I made this really, really nice dal, and it was so spicy. And my wife tried it and she said, look, it's good, but the kids are not going to like it. It's too spicy for them. So my kids, they tried it and they absolutely loved it. And one of them was eating it. Papa, this is so good, Papa. Papa, this is so good, he's telling me. And then he said, Papa, this is the best food I have had, he said. And he's eating it. Papa, wallahi, this is so good. He goes, Papa, there is no food better than this food. Baba, there is no food better than this food. And then he said, Baba, the only better food than this food is the food in Jannah, he said. Man, since that day, I cook dal every day. Why is that? Because somebody said something nice. Somebody appreciated what you did. SubhanAllah, young, old men, women, words of appreciation is music to our ears. We like to be told, that was good, man. Allah, that was beautiful. Sometimes, SubhanAllah, a person can work really, really hard, and then by the end of the day, somebody goes, man, I know it took a lot, man, but that was beautiful, man. That was so good, man. That was so nice, sister. That was... And people will tell you, SubhanAllah, all that physical tiredness just went away when somebody came and said something nice. You follow? Kids have not given us hard time. They're doing well in their school. Why not appreciate that? Why not say something nice about that? Why do we only pick to point out when something wrong has gone wrong? But wallahi, that's not a prophetic style. The style of the Prophet ﷺ is, you may acknowledge the wrong that took place, but he ﷺ, like we said yesterday, it is all about empowering the individual, and it is all about uplifting the individual. Because a believer is thoughtful. They are deliberate that the words that we use, how they impact those who are around us. Attention, appreciation. Last one is affection. Expressions of love. Telling the people around you, especially family members, that you love them. Because again, words such as I love you is like music to our ears. People, we like to hear these things. Someone said, look, man, I am with you, but the way that I grew up, my parents were never lovey-dovey, and that's not the kind of language that we use, man. That is just not that's not how I grew up. Anybody here remembers their parents telling them that they love them? Immigrant brothers, sisters, do you ever remember that your daddy told you that, come here son, I love you? You know, in some cultures, some love is spoken and some love is acted out. But whatever you choose, the people that you live with, they have to know beyond any doubt that you love them. And that you are not afraid of saying that you love them. We find for the brothers who are married, you know how every now and then your wife asks you, do you love me? Fatwani? Okay? And alhamdulillah, we never fail to give a stupid answer. Would I be married to you if I didn't love you? Didn't I tell you this 5 years ago? Fine, I love you, I said it. Are you happy now? Are you happy? I said it. Are you happy now? Khalas, is it over now? Are we happy? Okay. And why is that? Because people really do want that assurance. Even if you think they know it, but these are nice things to say, oh subhanallah. Min al-ajaib. You know, that Islam made it a condition that people cannot go to paradise unless they have experienced love in their heart. والله لا تدخلوا الجنة حتى تؤمنوا ولا تؤمنوا حتى تحابوا. Said by Allah, you will never enter paradise unless you believe, and you truly do not believe until there is mutual love between you two, or between you. And in the hadith it said that the Prophet ﷺ was once standing with a group of companions when somebody passed by. So one of the people standing with the Prophet, peace be upon him, said about the person that just passed by, he said, Prophet of Allah, the man that just passed by, I love him, Prophet of Allah. So the Prophet ﷺ said to him, أَعْلَمْتَهُ? Have you told him that you love him? And I said, come on, Prophet of Allah, you know, you just don't walk up to that person and say, I love you. I mean, especially nowadays, okay? You don't want to go to another man and say, you know, brother, I love you. That will just be very weird. Okay? So then the Prophet ﷺ, the man said, no, I have not told him. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا أَحَبَّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَخَاهُ فَلْيُعْلِمْهُ. He said, if one of you, this is how you feel about your brother, he said, let him know. Let them know. Can you imagine if people felt so comfortable and they were close, appreciated one another to the point that, Allah, brother, Allah, I love you, man. I am so happy that you are in my life. I just feel so blessed that you are my friend. And subhanAllah, when you do this, you create a community that is comfortable, a community that is at peace. But then more important than the community is what's happening at home, and that is people at home knowing that this is how you feel, that this is how you feel about them. In the hadith it said that the Prophet ﷺ, Aisha would ask him and she would say, Ya Rasulullah, kayfa hubbuka li? Prophet of Allah, what do you have to say about the way that you love me? And then the Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Aisha, huwa ish? Kal-uqda. Said Aisha, it is like a knot. And then the hadith says that every now and then Aisha would ask the Prophet ﷺ, and she would say, Ya Rasulullah, kayfa halu al-uqda? The Prophet of Allah, how is the knot doing? And the Prophet ﷺ would say, hiya kama hiya. It is as strong as it has always been. Expressing love. One time, Sheikh gave a similar speech. Then he asked the brothers, he said, brothers, let your wives know that you love them. He said, I want to have an exercise with you. Everybody get out your cell phones and text right now to your wife that you love her. But here is the catch, he said. Whatever response you get back, you have to read it to us. Everybody said, get out your phones. Everybody got their phones out. And then they texted, I love you. And then immediately a phone rang. Brother picks up the phone and it was his wife. And she said, Abu Abdullah, ilhaq telefonak insarak. Okay? She said, honey, somebody stole your phone, she said. Because to her, that is not something that her husband would like. So it was so foreign that she actually thought that the phone was stolen, because my husband doesn't do stuff like that, man. And so on. And I remember one day I told this story, and this brother got so enthusiastic, and he wanted to share with me, mashallah, his buhula, his, how would you say?
Bravery.
His bravery. So he said, Sheikh, he said, I just spoke to my wife, he said. He said, yeah? And then he said, and I said to her, إني أحبك في الله. يتكلم إمام المسجد إنت واحد يقول له زوجته إني أحبك في الله. He calls his wife and he said, I love you for the sake of Allah. I said, brother, you're not talking to the Imam of the masjid. You don't tell your wife, I love you for the sake of Allah. That is not romantic. It may make you sound religious, but it's not romantic. This is the stuff that you tell fellow brothers in the masjid. But that is not the language that you use at home with your wife or your husband, for example. Only I want you to pay attention to this. Why this is important. When you think of starvation, jafaf, when we think of starvation, we usually think of physical starvation. The people not having food, not having water. There is something else that we call emotional starvation. People are emotionally starving. Meaning that they haven't heard something nice lately. They don't remember receiving a compliment. They don't remember the last time somebody said, I love you. They don't remember somebody encouraging them. They don't remember somebody pointing out something nice about them. So what happens to us, men and women, everybody said that, we become emotionally starving. Now pay attention. If you have a daughter around the ages of 14 and 15 and 16 and these ages, being validated is very important. Receiving compliments at home is very important. Now listen to this. If a person is feeling emotionally starved, what happens is when we don't find enough love at home, you know what we do? We look for it outside. And the next person that says anything that is remotely nice, you know what happens? We start liking them. Even though they may be the wrong person for us, but right now, this is where we are getting our emotional nourishments from them. Pay attention to this. And then the Prophet ﷺ tells us the hadith of Abu Umama narrated by Tabarani. Some people question the authenticity of the hadith, but the meaning of it is sound. He said, شَرُ النَّاسِ ضَيَّقَ عَلَى أَهْلِهِ. The worst type of people are those who bring undue restriction and rigidity to their homes. So the people said, Ya Rasulullah, what kind of a person in their right mind would ever do this? Bring undue rigidity and undue inflexibility and restrictions upon their families? Who would do that? Then the Prophet ﷺ said, Man إِذَا دَخَلَ بَيْتَهُ. It is the person, he said, when they set foot in the house, he said that خَشَعَتْ زَوْجَتُهُ. He said now the wife becomes all collected. هَرَبَ ابْنُهُ. Their children run away. فَرَّ خَادِمُهُ. The servants become invisible. حَتَّى إِذَا خَرَجَ ضَحِكُوا وَاسْتَأْنَسُوا. But then the minute that person leaves, he said that everybody is laughing and everybody is relaxed. You know what people say? You know when my husband, my wife, my dad, my mom, when they walk in, he said that everybody in the family, it's like we start walking on eggshells. Because it's so tense. And there is just so much tension in the air, it's like we're walking on eggshells, everybody is just afraid. And then that person leaves, And then we just all relax and everybody's become chill. They have a saying. Say that some people bring happiness wherever they go. And some people bring happiness whenever they go. May Allah make us of the former, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Bring happiness wherever they go. And some people bring happiness whenever they go. Their mere presence is a problem. So Allah said, their mere presence is a problem where their own family members said, man, that is just not something that we like. It is fun without you. Everybody is relaxed when you are not around. But when you are around, man, that's a problem. That's a problem. So what we want is that we want to employ these tools. Attention, affection, appreciation. You know, sometimes, we become so enthusiastic. Somebody said, man, I just can't wait to go home. Allah, I'm going to grab my wife by her cheeks, look her in the eyes, and I love you. Or, just go there and talk to my kids, I appreciate you. And remember, this is nice. But that's not a one-time thing. That's a lifestyle. That's a lifestyle. Lifestyle where a person just is continuously encouraging. SubhanAllah, those of us who are blessed with young kids, you tell your kid to draw something. Your kid draws something and then immediately what do they want? They come back and what do they say? Baba, Baba, Mama, Mama, look. Look what? Look what? Can you say, look, I did. Can you stop there? Well, the point is what? Look and what? And say something. Now that's the ugliest circle I have seen in my life. Can we say that? You blind kid. Or you call that a circle now? Did you just do this with your feet right now? Okay. Your kids, when they come and tell you what they did, that's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for criticism. What are they looking for? MashaAllah, that is so. And what is happening to the child? They're all smiles. What's going on? Because see, validation, appreciation is really important. But what happens is that we kill that spirit in them eventually. Baba khalas تعبت ya. Okay, fine man, these are nice circles, khalas. Okay? We don't want to do that. People do these things and you wait. You wait for somebody to say, MashaAllah, Allah, you did very good today. Now, I bet you it's very tiring what you are doing. Please get into the habit of being very generous with your compliments. Allah, to be fair, people who are miserly, people who are stingy, bakhil, is not just a person who's not willing to give money. Sometimes we just become very stingy and miserly with these, with saying something nice. Say something nice. Get into the habit of saying something nice. Now somebody says, okay, fine. I really do want to put in that appreciation, attention, and affection, but how do I practically do this? Then we say, we've got to employ the 5 keys. 5 things that all start with the letter T. Time, touch, talk, trust, peace. Time. When you speak about attention, the best way to express attention is by giving time. If these people are the most important people to you, then you must give them time. Not just any time, enjoyable time. Time where people are going to sense that attention, affection, and appreciation. Time, brothers. Please do not underestimate the importance of time. You know that for the kids, they say that the most entertaining sound to a 2-year-old child is what? The most entertaining sound. 2-year-old child. What is it? You've been 2 years old before, right? Alright, so what's the most entertaining sound to a 2-year-old child?
Parents laugh.
The sound of their parents. That is the most entertaining sound. Because you hear, oh, Baba's here, Mama's here, I feel safe. Baba's here, Mama is here, I feel loved. But then again, by time we kill these things. So, time. Second one, talk. Talk. Some of us as parents, we think that every time we talk, we have to be lecturing. Or every time we talk, we have to be teaching. How do we just talk? Talk about how their day was. Ask about their school. Ask about their friends. Ask about, you know, the Prophet ﷺ, the longest hadith that we have, the hadith does not have any theological value. It was a chit-chat between the Prophet ﷺ and his wife Aisha radiallahu anha. And they're talking, and she is telling him, and in some narrations he is telling her about how 11 women in the pre-Islamic era in Jahiliyyah, they sat down and they decided to play truth about my husband, and every woman was going to say how she felt about her husband. My husband is this, my husband is that, and there is no theological value in it. There is no theology in it. There is no jurisprudence in it, other than the Prophet ﷺ, even though he is the messenger of Allah, he would chat with his family about these things. The Prophet ﷺ would visit Jabir ibn Abdullah, who was not feeling well, and when he gets there, he sees his younger brother Umayr, and Umayr was crying because he had a little bird that was not feeling well, and the Prophet ﷺ is here consoling the kid about a bird that is not feeling well, and what's going on? Small talks. Do not underestimate the power of these things. So remember how we said earlier about the availability, accessibility, and approachability? Well, this is what happens. I know this because I can talk to you. I can talk to SubhanAllah. The Prophet ﷺ would be walking in the streets of Medina. Adi ibn Hatim tells the story. He said, Kunna sa'irin, when he's coming, he said, Ja'at Jariya, a young girl, she came to the Prophet ﷺ, she grabbed him by the hand and she pulled him to the side and she talked to him. She was holding on to his hand, and when he promised he was going to do it, she let go of his hands. And Adi ibn Hatim at this point, he is the head of this big delegation coming in, and he is watching what the Prophet ﷺ is doing. He said, the man is leaving this delegation to speak to this nobody. And she pulls him to the side, and he actually obeys, and there's not approachability, availability, accessibility. When you want to talk, it doesn't have to be all the time something that is important. We will have these little talks as well. So time, talk, touch, like physical touch. I was reading in Romania, after Ceausescu, they had orphanages, and some of these children in the orphanages were dying, like infants. They said, why are they dying? We have nurses there, it's clean, temperature is good, there's always medication, they're well fed, they are cleaned as soon as they need to be, but the children were dying. And subhanAllah, you know what they found out? They found out that the orphans were physically cared for, but they were not held. They were not held, meaning that there was physically, there was no physical touch that was taking place. These kids became so emotionally starved that they actually died. They died. Because they were not being physically held. You know, if you ever go to the ICU, we call it ICU in the States. What is it? Intensive care unit. Sometimes they have intensive care units for the babies that were, born earlier. And I remember there was a brother who had a child who was born, prematurely, and the child was too small. So what the doctor said, they said to the father, they said, sir, after work, we want you to come to the hospital. And for about 3 hours, what we want you to do is be topless, take off your shirt, and your baby is just going to also, we want you to have skin to skin touch with your child. And we want you to do this for 3 hours. Like feeding him and stuff, just hold him. Just hold him. Why is that? Touch. People want to be touched. People want to be hugged. Remember one time a brother's father passed away. So he came to the masjid and he said, Shaykh, my father passed away, Allah yarhamhu. So I went into the Shaykh mode and I said, Yalla lillahi ma akhad wa lahu ma a'ta, and I'm starting to recite the hadith. The brother said, please, you have to stop. He said, I just want a hug. Get up, give the brother a hug, and he starts bawling. He starts crying. And he sits down and goes, he looks at him and goes, man, you're the best Shaykh, man. Yeah, the best Shaykh when I shut up. So the best when you shut up, and you just even bring that human element into it. Sometimes people don't want to be talked to, they just want to be hugged. They just want to be touched. So similarly, he said, employ this. So time, talk, touch, trust. This is very important. Approachability, accessibility, availability, attention, affection, appreciation. Now there is also this element of trust. I need to trust you. Trust what? If I tell you, please don't share this information with anybody, I trust that you will not share this information with anybody. If I say, look, I'm going to tell you something, but please just don't judge, I trust that you will not judge. If I tell you something, I hope that you will not use what I tell you against me one day. Are you following? Now sometimes you tell somebody something, and then they end up using it against you, and then what happens? You end up regretting this. Like, man, I didn't tell you to use it against me. I just wanted to talk, but now you are using this against me. I cannot trust you. And then the last one is tease. Tease means have fun. Be playful. It's okay not only to laugh with the people, but it's also okay to laugh with the people about you. People like that are very comfortable. They don't mind making fun of themselves or somebody else making fun of them, and everybody's laughing, including them. We're not saying be disrespectful. We're just being that easygoing. You need to imagine the Prophet ﷺ is praying, done his prayer. Hassan and Hussein, they come in and they say, Jamal, the camel, get into the camel position. So the Prophet ﷺ will get down on his hands and knees, they get on his back and he starts moving. And what are they saying? Jamal, we got ourselves a camel. And what does the Prophet ﷺ say about this? Ni'mal jamalu jamalukuma. He said, man, the most fortunate of camels is your camel. And he sallallahu alayhi wasallam would laugh along. And subhanAllah, when you see the gentleness of the Prophet, peace be upon him, subhanAllah, just an amazing man. Last one, tell you about this thing, is at the end of the battle of Dhat al-Riqa', said the Prophet ﷺ would just be checking on the army, so they're going back to Medina. And then he's checking, and then Jabir ibn Abdullah was at the very end of the line, like way back there. Because he had this camel, he said that the camel was so weak, it was like a really, really pathetic camel. It just moving very slow, and Jabir hated that camel. So the Prophet ﷺ went along with Jabir, said, what's going on, Jabir? He said, Prophet Allah, this stupid camel, pathetic camel, slow camel. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, let's make dua, make barakah, bring barakah into the camel. And the Prophet ﷺ made the dua, said, the camel started speeding up. And then the Prophet ﷺ asked Jabir, are you married now? Or what's going on with you? And the Prophet ﷺ, yeah, I got married to this woman who is, she is a relative of ours, bint Ammi, she's a cousin of mine. And the Prophet said, what was it about her? He said, Prophet of Allah, my dad passed away And he left me with 7 children. And I needed somebody to help me in caring for them. SubhanAllah, they say the Prophet ﷺ sensed that Jabir ibn Abdullah was going through some financial difficulties. So they, riding the camels, then the Prophet ﷺ said, Jabir, said, Bi'ni jamalak, sell me this camel of yours. So Jabir said, but Abu laka ya Rasulullah. I said, no problem, you don't need to buy it, I will gift it to you. And the Prophet said, no, قال bi'ni iyah. He said, sell it to me. So then Jabir said, well, how much are you willing to pay for it? So the Prophet ﷺ said, dirham, like 1 silver coin. Then Jabir said, قال إذا هبنتني يا رسول الله. He said, Prophet Allah, that'll be cheating, just one. He said, no. He said, 2, and Jabir said, no. 3, no. 4. And then finally they decided it was going to be an uqiyya, an ounce, which was like good money. They make it to Medina, and they are in Medina, Jabir is happy. Then all of a sudden somebody knocks on the door of Jabir and he said, Rasulullah yurid. Said the Prophet wants to talk to you. قال فقلت والله ما أراد إلا أن يغير رأيه. He said, I was sure that the Prophet changed his mind about the transaction. That والله ما كان عندي شيء أبغض إلي من هذا الجمل. He said, by Allah, I didn't have anything that I hated most like I hated this camel. And then he said, man, I cannot believe I actually have to take this stupid camel back. And then they go to the Prophet ﷺ, and they say that the Prophet ﷺ gave him the uqiyya, gave him the ounce of gold that they agreed on, and said, Jabir, take the uqiyya, take the gold, and take your camel with you. The idea here is the gentleness of, see, if I were to speak to you about the financial difficulties that I may be having, please don't use that against me. And if you're going to do something about it, please be like the Prophet ﷺ was, gentle. Nobody was hurt in the process. And many times, my brothers and sisters, we think that if we want a good family, then the wife has to cooperate, the kids have to be good, and then I'll be good. Well, that's not how it works. Sometimes people will be sitting here saying, man, I wish my wife was here. I wish my husband was here, because they really needed to hear this thing. Look, we needed to hear this thing. And now that we know, we want to make sure that we go back and we apply some of this. And by the way, Wallahi, I promise you, I don't think I have taught you anything that you did not know before. Wallahi, I can almost assure you, I don't think you learned anything new tonight. But what happens is, we want to remind each other of these things. And when you remember saying, man, Wallahi, it's true. Subhanallah, my wife has been so good to me. I don't think I've said something nice lately. I don't think I've really expressed my appreciation to her lately. My kids, Wallahi, they're good kids. I don't remember telling them that they're good kids. They haven't given me any hard time, alhamdulillah. And I don't remember telling them this. My husband, I am married to such a good man. I don't remember telling him how we appreciate how hard he works, and he comes back home and he plays with the kids, and I need to do this. So please, inshallah, not just for tonight, not just for the day, make it a habit. I won't go to sleep unless I give at least 3 compliments to my wife, to my husband, to my kids. I won't go to sleep until I inquire about my family. How are they doing? And checking on them. I'll make sure that I tell my family that I am available, inshallah, approachable, as well as acceptable. I'll express my appreciation, I will show my attention, and I will definitely express my affection to them. So people say, come on, man, my family knows that I love them. And I think I told you this tomorrow. Please remember, see, having these feelings and never expressing it is like buying a gift, wrapping it, but never presenting it. And every time you see me say, I've got a gift for you, and I look back and I say, no, you don't. It's not a gift unless what? You give it to me. You can have all these feelings in your heart. I won't believe them until what? You say them. Anybody here has a hard time saying I love you? Look, I'm be honest now. Anybody here like has a hard time saying I love you? Like, you know, well, I'm trying. I just cannot see. I cannot imagine myself looking my wife in the eye and say I love you. She's probably going to just look back at me and say, what do you want? Not tonight. Good. Good. Right? Because again, families are not used to these things. But inshallah, if we get into that house, some of you didn't get the joke, but that's fine, inshallah. Good. So thank you. Laugh louder, let me know that he got the joke. Okay, good. So now what happens, inshallah, is please get into these habits. And by the way, we can learn from each other. We can learn. How do you appreciate your kids? How do you appreciate your wife? How do you appreciate your husband? And so on. Anyways, I think I've spoken enough. But what I really want now is, if it's okay with you, my brothers and sisters, inshallah, is to enrich this further, either by questions or comments, inshallah. Then when we do that, we'll pray Isha, inshallah.
جزاك الله خير.
جزاك الله خير Sheikh Yasser. Jazakum Allah khair, brothers and sisters. The brother suggested that we take a small question and answer session. Inshallah, then we have, yesterday I've announced that tomorrow inshallah we'll be giving £50 for quiz that we asked yesterday. And one of the brothers even phoned me after today, said, are you coming? I said, why do I have to come? He said, well, yesterday he said you're going to give £50, so you might as well come today. So we'll do that inshallah after the question and answers. Also, I have a challenge. If you warm up your muscles, I've got chin-up bar, and you can go on it to do chin-up bar dips, or even press-ups. And we'll set price for that inshallah as well. So we're going to divide it into categories inshallah. 20 years old and under, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, anyone after 40, inshallah, if they do one rep, inshallah, they're going to win something inshallah. So we start with questions and answers, and to be honest, I'd rather give sisters presents, because they not had no share really, apart from maybe some sandwiches that we sent to them. So if the sisters want to ask any questions, please go ahead. I'm not sure how we're going to do this. If probably a young sister, or any sister, wants to come up there and ask the question, you can do that. Feel free to do that, inshallah. Otherwise, if brothers have questions, go ahead and Sheikh inshallah will answer them. It'll take about 10 minutes inshallah, questions and answers. Then we move on to a bit of entertainment inshallah.
Further.
The previous talk you talked about three of the 8 needs of communication. So can we know the best, the 5?
Yes.
If you don't mind just repeating the question for the sisters.
So in the previous lecture I spoke about the 8 potential different levels of depth of communication. And I said that most people go to sleep after the second one, after cliche and after facts. And the question is, can we know the other 6? And the answer is no. But I'll give you some of them. So what happens is, After exchanging cliche questions, and then exchanging facts, if we feel comfortable, then we exchange ideas. So I'll say, hey, for next weekend, can we do this? And you say, that's the dumbest idea I've heard. Well, that's so stupid. If you shut it down, because see, remember every time we share an idea, we take a risk. So we usually begin by sharing an idea. And then if we're comfortable enough, then we share a thought. And then if we're comfortable enough, we share a feeling. But see, the deeper you get, the higher risk you take. And that is why if you shut me down at the fact level, scolding said, why didn't you make the appointment? I told you to make the appointment. See, now what happens is that you won't go any deeper because you've already been shut down at that level. Are you following? So now, the more comfortable I feel, the deeper the communication can get. But then ultimately, what is the absolute desire when we communicate? What do we want? What do we want? Like ultimately, what is it that we want? What do we want? No, what do we want when we communicate?
Understanding.
We want to be understood. We want to be understood. So when Musa alayhi salam is asked to go and confront Fir'aun, what does he pray for? He said, "Allah Rabbi shrah li sadri, wa yassir li amri, wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani, yafqahu qawli." He said, "Ya Allah, relieve me of this impediment that I have. Expand my heart for me. Ease my task so that I may be understood." I want to be understood. I mean, ultimately, that's why we want, when somebody gets his, it feels good. When you feel understood, it feels good. So ultimately, that's where we want to go. And when you know people well enough, we don't understand them because they use the right voice. But sometimes you can understand what's going on by the tone of the voice, by the body language, by the facial expressions, and because you're also genuinely trying to hear the unsaid. That is good communication. When we are able to do this. So that's part of a much bigger lecture that we do on communication. Good question though. Yeah. I think people just want to go into the entertainment so that we can just all go home, right? Alright, so once again, just want to say that this was my first time here in Birmingham with the Eritrean community. And alhamdulillah, it was beautiful. In Africa they have a saying. In Africa they say, if you visit once, is that a question?
Come back next one. Next one. The next question.
Yeah, so in Africa they have a saying. They say if you visit once, you are a guest. If you visit twice, you are a friend. If you visit 3 times, you are family. I hope you all are getting the hint, inshallah. But from the first time, it already feels family, alhamdulillah. So appreciated the invitation. I hope that we benefit from this. Once again, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Bless our families, Ya Rabbil Alameen. And for all those of us who are from Eritrea, inshallah, one day we will have these conferences in Eritrea. In a safe, beautiful, liberated Eritrea that welcomes all, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Where nobody is going to be in prison. Nobody is going to be held in jail without any due process. Nobody is going to be afraid, regardless of what religious beliefs that they have, or political ideologies that they have, or ethnic background that they come from. Inshallah, not only for us, but also for the people who come from these types of places, Ya Rabbil Alameen. People going back safe to Libya, Algeria, and wherever they may be, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We just want to, where we are, we want to live happily and safely and welcomed and accepted. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك جزاكم الله خير السلام عليكم
جزاكم الله خير الله يتقبل منكم.